Greetings and welcome to the Roost News, the place for all things volunteer. I'm Nancy McCammon Hansen. I'm sitting here in a very cloudy Fort Wayne, and if you hear a big boom, it's because we're in a thunderstorm watch. And today I'm going to visit with Alex Glazenbrook, who is Vice President of Programs for OATS. So thanks for joining us today, Alex. Appreciate your sharing your time. It's my understanding, and I just learned about OATS a couple of weeks ago, that OATS stands for Older Adults Technology Services, and it was founded in 2004. It's a social impact organization, and you're going to explain that a little bit more thoroughly as we go on. The mission of OATS is to harness the power of technology to change the way we age. And as somebody who went kicking and screaming into the computer age, I wish you'd have been around a number of years ago. The aim of OATS is to empower older adults with the tools and training necessary to take advantage of today's technology and use it to enrich their lives. So before we talk more about OATS, let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your position with OATS.
Sure. Thanks, Nancy, and great to be here. Thanks for having me. I'll keep the about me short because that's probably the most, well, I don't want to say boring part, but the part that we can go through quickly. I've been at OATS for 11 years. I'm actually a social worker by trade, and I came to OATS because I really saw that there was a huge need to help people stay connected, especially through the use of technology as they age. So when I joined OATS, we were a much smaller organization and we hadn't actually joined the AARP family. And, fast forward 11 years from there, we're now a national organization and we provide programs all around the country through a bunch of different channels.
Okay, so those of us who are Roost volunteers are assuming that there are a number of people within our organization, staff and volunteers, who really don't know what kind of work that you do and what kind of programs you offer. So can you share some more information about the OATS program and how it interfaces with AARP?
Sure. So OATS believes that we are, as you mentioned at the beginning, of your introduction, that we are a social impact organization. And what we mean by that is we are doing a lot of technology training and digital literacy training with the hopes that that adoption and use and understanding of technology in later life creates real change in people's lives. So whether that's changes in social connectedness, whether that's better health, whether it's enhanced financial security, our programs are all sort of tied to higher order impact. So that's what we mean when we say social impact. Our programs are delivered primarily in three different, what we call channels. One is in person. So we deliver a lot of our work directly in community with our staff. We have 5 major areas around the country where we do that. And we also operate Senior Planet Centers, which are our flagship locations. They're kind of like really large, beautifully designed Apple stores, but just for seniors. So that's the first way we deliver work, is in person. The second way, which was born out of COVID, is virtually. So we deliver a lot of our program now virtually, actually through Zoom and through our website, seniorplanet.org. And then finally, we also deliver program through a model we call Senior Planet Licensing. And what that program is a way for us to equip and onboard local community-based partners with our curriculum and our training and support so they can take the work forward in their communities. It's sort of like a franchise model. And that's also relatively new too. We've only been doing that for about 4 years. So through those 3 channels, we deliver hundreds of different topics in various formats. So we have lectures and workshops. And then we also have much more involved multi-week programs for more foundational learning, things like computer basics or iPad basics, if you're really trying to harness kind of those introductory skills to get to the next level, we have 5 and 10 week multi-week programs that help people do that as well.
So, what parts of the country do you have physical locations?
Sure. So where we actually operate ourselves on the ground, New York City, Plattsburgh, New York, Montgomery County, Maryland, Miami, Florida, San Antonio, Texas, Denver, Colorado, and Palo Alto area, Santa Clara County, California. So there's actually more. We really have kind of 7 areas physically where we're delivering program, but it's kind of contained within, well, now 6 states because we just opened our Miami center late last year.
But you also have virtual trainings, so you can essentially live anywhere in the world, I would assume.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, and people do. People join our virtual programs from Europe, from Asia, and then through the licensing model, which is not us delivering the work, but community partners who have been trained by us delivering the work. We're in another 30 states and an additional like 450 locations through the licensing model.
So you should be able to get to.
Yeah, that's the idea, is
right?
hopefully you can get to us some way. We either virtually, either in person with us or through one of our licensed partners. We have a way of working with pretty much anyone, and that's kind of what our goal's been over the past couple of years.
Okay. Explain Senior Planet to us. I love the name, Senior
Yeah.
Planet. And what that entails and how staff and volunteers can get involved with Senior Planet.
Yeah, so OATS, Older Adults Technology Services, that's the parent nonprofit. And Senior Planet is a program of OATS. It's our flagship program. It's basically the brand that we use for all of our materials and programs that face older adults. So it's kind of our customer-facing brand. If you know OATS, you know Senior Planet. Most of the people we work with directly who participate in our programs, they might not even know what OATS is, but they know what Senior Planet is because that's kind of how we face the public. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I think a lot of viewers who are probably watching this know that about 3 years ago, we became a charitable affiliate of AARP, which means we joined forces because we have a lot of shared interests, and we saw the growth potential and opportunity that's kind of coming down the road at us as the population ages and technology continues to advance. Both AARP and OATS saw that there was a shared vision in getting this work to more people, so we joined forces. And in doing that, getting to the second part of your question, we've created a lot of ways specifically for the state offices to interact with OATS and Senior Planet. So state offices can work with us to provide virtual programs directly to their membership. We just developed our first DIY toolkit in partnership with our colleagues at CSN. So that's something that volunteers can now use on the ground to deliver our programs. We also do capacity building and train the trainer support for state offices if there's interest. And we don't do this as much, but we're also sending our staff out to certain states and certain state offices if they have a really large program or big event going on, where we'll help them deliver a program as part of a bigger day or a couple of days that they want to include technology within. So I think for volunteers specifically, there's a really good opportunity right now to harness that DIY toolkit, which is actually about smartphone basics, because the volunteers can actually take that, learn it, and go implement it in their communities.
So a little bit off of the questions that we had talked about before we started this. I'm a person who really prefers my computer to my smartphone because of my vision.
Yeah.
And it's easier for me to see a computer than it is to read all this stuff on a smartphone. For people who are older, and I'm in my early 70s, should we be trying to learn more about our smartphones, or can we still stick with our computers?
It's a good question. I think what you feel, I think it's personal preference. I mean, personal computers, tablets with large screens, laptops are never going to go away. So I think whatever your personal preference is, and what I would say about mobile devices that tend to have smaller screens is the accessibility options have really increased dramatically, and that's something we spend a lot of time on at Oates. So if viewers of this or people are interested in learning more about how you can really access more accessibility features on your mobile devices to, if, for instance, if you have vision concerns or something like that, there's a lot you can do now that you couldn't even do 2 years ago that makes those devices more usable for people who have accessibility needs. And so there's a way, I think, for anyone to kind of use them now if you know how to get to the right settings and turn the right things on.
Okay. Um, so what is the benefit to somebody my age of getting involved with Senior Planet? What kind of feedback have you gotten?
Yeah.
Any measurable outcomes, that successes, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think the biggest thing people get out of our programs, honestly, is community. And I think sometimes um, people find that a little odd because we're a technology organization and we're delivering all this technology training, but really all of our training or the bulk of it is done in group sessions. And people really build community and relationships during their learning journey with us. So they're not, I mean, yes, they're learning, yes, they're figuring out how technology can affect their lives, but they're also connecting with peers, they're making new friends, they're finding community in whatever space we're delivering programs to them in, whether even if that's virtual or if it's at one of our centers or even if it's at one of our licensed partners. That's really ultimately what I think people, the biggest takeaway people get from us. Obviously, secondarily, people are very happy to be able to do something new on their device or learn a new app or see a new, kind of future-oriented technology like AI and how that might be affecting all of us, in the near future. So I think there's the social connection element to it. There's learning. And I think from a outcomes perspective, we take that really seriously. So the things we look at when people are participating with us, we actually measure people's levels of social connectedness to see if they've become more socially connected after participating in our programs. We look at things like satisfaction and net promoter score, which is a measurement of how likely you'd be to recommend the program to somebody else to kind of figure out how we're doing. And we measure a lot of other kind of outcome metrics that are trying to think about what the effects of that technology are in life rather than did you learn email in this class, yes or no. We want to know more about what did you do with it or how did it affect your life, and that's really kind of where we try and orient our outcomes work towards.
That's so interesting. I'm a kind of as a sideline. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters, and we're working on a campaign right now to publicize our Vote 411 website. And we've been trying to figure out whether or not we should all learn TikTok because
A lot going on with that right now.
yes, that because we want to hit younger people. Most of us are retired or getting close to it, and I saw a chart yesterday about how Facebook use has declined and TikTok use has gone up, which makes
Yep.
me wonder if TikTok goes away in effect, what that's going to do to the younger generations. I didn't realize that TikTok was that popular. So
I didn't know it was as I knew it was popular. When I was watching the news last night and I saw that I think they said there's 125 million users,
uh-huh.
which what is that, a third of the US population? Yeah, it's a huge number of people. Yeah, we'll see. It could, maybe it'll give rise to a new platform, or maybe people will go back to things that they were using before TikTok. We'll have to see what how the government decides on that.
Another question that's kind of an aside to what we had discussed earlier. Is it sometimes I feel like I'm addicted to social media. I keep my
Yeah.
cell phone right beside me all the time, which right now it's in the dining room and I'm in our home library. But is there, I guess, a danger in being too much on social media?
I mean, I think that probably goes for anything in life. There's probably a danger in doing too much of anything. I think it's a balance, right? I mean, I myself have limited my social media use just because, I noticed myself just being on it sort of aimlessly when I could be doing other things. I think it's really an individual decision. I don't think social media is not, it's supplementing all of your, real life interaction. Um, But I think, for the people we work with, and we start at age 50 and work all the way up, we actually have people in our programs that are over 100 right now. Social media can actually provide a real lifeline to people. It may be ways for people to reconnect with their family. It may be ways for people to stay in touch with friends that they haven't seen in a really long time. And I think that a lot of the negativity associated with social media, that you see out in the news, et cetera, it doesn't take into the context the potentially positive benefits that come to people who maybe live alone, maybe are socially disconnected, and those little glimmers of connection on social media or on FaceTime on their phone are the things that really improve their quality of life and actually can objectively help them live longer. We're seeing that in the data that people who are more socially connected actually have a longer lifespan. So I think it's a balance, but especially in later life, it can be a real antidote to people's feelings of being disconnected. And I think that's really important.
So reading my Facebook page first thing in the morning with my first cup of coffee is okay.
That's fine. Yeah, no, that's no, I think that's fine.
One other question I have for you. If there's a state office or like I'm part of the volunteer group in Fort Wayne, if we have an idea for something that we think would make a good program, how do we go about approaching Senior Planet or to get that considered?
Yeah, I mean, we love hearing that stuff, and it's given birth to a lot of new things that we've done. You can email me. I can also, we have a just a general email account. Like we can put it in the notes afterwards, but it's program operations at oats.org, where we take in all of our inquiries usually. And yeah, if we think it's relevant and has, ability for us to actually deliver it well, then yeah, we can absolutely make something through what I'll call crowdsourcing.
Okay, so it's program operations at oats.org.
Yep, that's it.
It's oats, OATS, the
Yep,
plural. So,
yep,
okay.
yep.
Anything else you want to add to what we've been talking about?
Um, no, I mean, I think, there's so much opportunity, I think, with Oats being part of AARP now that we've, joined forces. And I think from our perspective at Oats, we just want to do everything we can in service of the state offices and the volunteers. So we haven't figured it all out yet. And we know there's, new areas and new things we could be doing to better serve both constituencies. So if people have ideas about ways that we could be working, with volunteers or with the state that you may live in, we'd love to learn more about that and hear how we can, be as supportive as possible. We have a tremendous amount of content, uh, written content specifically, that we can really distribute very widely. And I think we have to do that in partnership with AARP to really achieve our shared vision of helping people use technology to enhance their lives. So we're excited. It's been 3 years, which sounds like a long time, but it's not really that long in the grand scheme of things. So I'm hopeful that as we keep evolving and states and volunteers keep learning more about oats, that we'll be able to really get into every state and community in the United States. And that's really our goal.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's
It's great
amazing
to be
how
here.
technology how it's changed our lives. And
Very true.
most of the time for the better. So
Most of the time, yes.
couldn't live without my laptop and my cell phone. So
Yeah.
thank you for being our guest on the Roost News. And thank you also to AARP staff and volunteers for joining us for today's episode. We encourage you to subscribe to the Roost News podcast channel on YouTube, or you can listen to an audio version of this interview and other interviews on your favorite podcast platform. And of course, be sure you invite your fellow volunteers and staff members to join us too. So on behalf of the Roost News podcast team, thank you so much, Alex, and for those of you who are watching and listening.
Thank you.